Hello everyone, and welcome to Cam's Home Library. I am Cameron. I use he, him pronouns, and let's just get this out of the way now. If you have a problem with me saying that, or if you don't support trans or queer people, then this is not the page for you. I am very proudly trans and queer in a very happy relationship. I'm very happy with my life and who I am. So, if you're not accepting of that, no need to comment, no need to say anything. Just leave this page and don't come back. This is a very safe, open space for all people, and if you are not willing to participate in that, this is not the place for you. So, with that out of the way, this is Cam's Home Library, and on this page, I will be reviewing books, giving you monthly recaps, my monthly TBRs. I might change that to seasonally at some point. We shall see. And also reading banned books and participating in different book challenges and things like that. If that is something you're into, please make sure to subscribe. I would love to have you here. And yeah, so in this video, I will be going over my April TBR. And yes, today it is April 5th, so I'm already a few days late to this. I'm a very busy college student. I also have 2 jobs, so this is probably going to happen a lot. Just bear with me. I might be late to posting things for that reason. But yeah, with that being said, let's get started. Alright, so to preface this month and probably in the future, I tried to pick books from different genres so that I wasn't reading too much of the same thing, but if I'm in a certain kind of reading mood, I might end up not doing that in the future. But I tried to do that for this month, especially it being my first month on here. I wanted to keep things interesting and bring in all kinds of readers because I like to read all kinds of things. So here are my reads for the month of April, or should I say my to-be-reads. Starting off, a book I have already started. The first book I want to read this month is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. She is also the author of Red, White, and Royal Blue, if any of you guys have ever read that. As you can see, I already started. I started this last night, and I'm about 40 pages in. So, this book is a lesbian romance that follows the main character, August, who has just moved from Louisiana, New Orleans, to New York City. And on her daily commute to school, she meets a girl named Jane, who is also known as Subway Girl, especially in the beginning of this book. She is a short-haired girl wearing a leather jacket who soon becomes the best part of August's day. Jane is trapped on the Q train, which is where August sees her every day. And it turns out she has been displaced from the 1970s, so she's kind of trapped outside of her time. Now August, who has been running away from the idea of magic for years and years now, has to put all of that behind her to save Jane. So, super interesting queer romance. This is one of my first physical lesbian romances, if not my very first. So I'm very excited about that, and I loved Red, White, and Royal Blue. I've heard some really great things about this book from some of my friends who've read it, but one of my favorite booktubers, Carrie Can Read, she said it was forgettable when she was rating all of the romance books she's read for her Valentine's Day video. So we'll see what I think about it when I finish. And yeah, that is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. The next book on my list is Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. Blood Over Brighthaven is a high fantasy / dark academia book, and this follows Siona. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. She is an orphan who has been training her entire life to become the very first woman admitted to the High Magistracy. But when she reaches that goal, she faces a ton of misogyny from her peers and the higher-ups in the Magistracy. And as High Mage, Siona gets an assistant, and his name is Thomiel. He used to be a nomadic hunter outside Tyrion, which is the country city that they live in, and he lost his whole family. They all died when he was crossing the magical barrier into Tyrion. So now Thomiel and Siona have to work together to uncover a dark, ancient secret which has the potential to upset the balance of their world forever. So I've heard absolutely incredible things about this book, and I am so glad that I've finally got my hands on it on one of my recent book shopping trips, so I can finally read it. I am so excited that I got this. Yeah, I'm super excited. So that is Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. Monster, please sponsor me. Next up for April is going to be the next book I read for my banned book series. I might make a separate video about this, but I'm not too sure since I will probably be going over these at least briefly in my monthly recaps. But it will definitely be a series on my Instagram, so make sure you go follow that. The link will be in the description. So this book is Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood. This is the first book in the Mad Adams trilogy, which takes readers into a near future in which the world has been devastated by uncontrolled genetic engineering and also a plague. Snowman, who was formerly known as Jimmy, may be the only human to have survived this plague, and he is left mourning his best friend Crake and Oryx, whom they both loved. To find answers, Snowman goes on a journey through a wilderness that has overtaken a once vast city, and that city was destroyed by the uncontrolled genetic engineering by some powerful companies. And so this will be my first ever Margaret Atwood book. Please don't come for me, I swear. In the banned book series, I will get around to reading The Handmaid's Tale. Guys, please ignore my inability to speak throughout the entirety of this video. I promise I will try and get better for next time. I actually have a wheel spinner, and that picked out this one to be my first. So, don't come for me. I'm super excited to get into her writing. I've heard great things. I've heard great things about The Handmaid's Tale, and my boyfriend's mom has actually read this book, and she absolutely loved it. And I am interested to see how, as someone who lived through the pandemic, I feel about the whole plague situation. So if I manage to finish everything for this month that is on my list, then I will go back and I will finish this series. So that is Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood, the banned book I will be reading this month. Alright, so the next book I want to read in April is Educated by Tara Westover. I have literally owned this book since last summer, and I haven't gotten around to reading it yet, so this is a very high priority. Okay, this is happening in April. I will be reading this book, right? I swear, hold me to it, please. So, Educated is Tara Westover's memoir, where she recounts growing up with survivalist parents in the mountains of Idaho. And so her parents didn't believe in hospitals. Anytime she was hurt, it was always home remedies. She wasn't allowed to go to the hospitals. And they didn't live close enough to like mainstream society for Tara to have access to an education. And she also had older brothers who got violent with her, and there was no one to really step in since they were so far from, mainstream society, whether that be physically or just kind of the way that they were living. So none of them were able to get an education at all. And so Tara took things into her own hands, and she taught herself enough, especially in math and grammar, to be admitted to Brigham Young University, which is a Mormon university in Utah. And there she became a history major. So, for the first time, once she was admitted to Brigham Young, Tara learned about things like the Holocaust and the Great Depression, which she had never ever heard about growing up. And so she ends up kind of traveling all over to places like Harvard and Columbia, and she learns kind of about the world and how the world really works. And through that, she has to explore kind of what she wants her relationship with her parents to be like, and the feeling of cutting ties to the people who are close to you and who you're extremely loyal to, being your family, and fighting for your own access to education. I think memoirs are really important kinds of books for people to read because I think it's so important to hear about other people's stories, especially those whose experience is completely different from your own. And so I'm really excited to get into this. I think, the topic of education, especially in the United States where, primary education is accessible to the majority of people, I think it's really interesting to hear someone's story where that was not true for them, and hearing about different people's experiences and, what they go through to fight for an education. I think that's really important, really interesting. So, yeah, I cannot wait to read this book. I've heard great things about it by people like Lexi from Nova. She's another one of my favorite booktubers, and she really loves this book and highly recommended it, and I tend to agree with her opinions. So, yeah, that is Educated, and that is definitely one of my top priorities for the month of April. Finally, the very last book on my TBR for April is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. So this is a science fiction book, which actually won Reader's Favorite Sci-Fi in 2021, I believe, from Goodreads. And it is a very, very popular sci-fi book. Project Hail Mary is about a man named Ryland who is the sole survivor of a last chance space mission, with the survival of humanity and the Earth itself hanging in the balance. But when Ryland wakes up from, I'm going to assume, cryo sleep kind of thing, he has absolutely no idea what his mission is, and the only two people on his spaceship are his two dead crewmates. And so he is hurtling through space all alone, millions of miles from his home, and has absolutely no idea why, just knows that he is on a very important mission to save all of humanity. And so, very slowly, his memories are coming back to him, and he has to figure out what he needs to do to basically do it all, save everyone, and be the best whoever was. In some way, I think the premise is a bit similar to Oryx and Crake, just, like the lone survivor, end of humanity kind of vibe, but they're obviously two very different books, and I think that I will enjoy both of them a lot. So, yeah, Newly Nova, I believe, also highly recommends Project Hail Mary. So, again, I trust her opinions, and I am very excited to get into this. I know it is a very popular book, so yeah, I think it's a really interesting concept. I love a high stakes, memory loss, gotta save the world kind of book. So, yeah, that is the last book on my April TBR. Alright, guys, well, that was it. The 5 books on my TBR for the month of April this year. I know 5 books really isn't a lot, but again, I'm a full-time student and I find it really hard to find time to read physical books with my schedule and everything. I find it a lot easier to listen to audiobooks while I'm taking the bus around campus or, reading like on the Kindle app on my phone when I'm going to bed at night. So, yeah, these aren't going to be the only books I'll read this month. I'll also listen to audiobooks and read digital books. But I have a huge, huge, huge physical TBR, and I really want to set a goal to read at least 5 physical books this month. I really think I can do it. And again, if I finish everything on this list, I can go back and read the rest of the Mad Adam series by Margaret Atwood. So hopefully I'll get to do that this month. If not, I will add them to my TBR for May. And yeah, that being said, that is everything I had to talk to you guys about in this video. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please make sure to like this video and subscribe. If you have read any of these books, feel free to comment below what you thought of them. Try not to give any spoilers. If you do, just put a note saying that it has spoilers in it. Yeah, if you have any book suggestions, book recs that you think I would enjoy based on my TBR, also add those in the comments below, or any kind of video ideas, reading challenges that you have for me. If you like this kind of content and you want to hear what I think about these books here, then make sure you subscribe, and you will see all of my March and April reads in probably my next video, which will be in the beginning of May. And yeah, make sure that you like and subscribe so that you can come back and hear my thoughts. My Instagram and my Goodreads will also be linked in the description below, so make sure to check those out. I post book reviews on there as well. Obviously, on my Goodreads, I post really in-depth reviews with my ratings, and on my Instagram I post a lot of book-related things as well as my reviews. So if you're interested in bookish content, which I hope you are being here, then make sure to check those out as well, and also check out my other channel, Crochet Creations by Cam, if you're interested at all in crocheting or learning how to crochet. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and have a great day.